Marylebone Cricket Club is a cricket club in London, founded in 1787. It owns, and is based at, Lord's Cricket Ground in St John's Wood, London NW8. MCC was formerly the governing body of cricket both in England and Wales as well as worldwide. In 1993 many of its global functions were transferred to the International Cricket Council and its English governance passed to the Test and County Cricket Board at the same time. MCC revised the laws of cricket in 1788 and continues to reissue them, and remains the copyright holder. Since its foundation, the club has raised its own teams which are essentially occasional and have never taken part in any formal competition. Depending on the quality of the opposition in any given match, MCC has always had major status, i.e., it is classified as an unofficial first-class team by substantial sources from 1863 to 1894, and classified as an official first-class team from 1895 by itself and the county championship clubs. It has never played in a List A match. MCC teams play many matches against minor opposition, and on these occasions, they relinquish major status. Traditionally, to mark the beginning of each English season in April, MCC plays the reigning county champions at Lord's, this being a first-class match. MCC sides regularly tour overseas to all cricket-playing nations and to developing ones as well, e.g. Afghanistan in 2006, and the club has an extensive fixture list every season throughout Britain, particularly with schools. History and role. Popular tradition dates the founding of the MCC to 1787 when Thomas Lord opened the ground he bought on the site now occupied by Dorset Square, which the club adopted as its home venue. In fact, the 1787 MCC was the reconstitution of a much older club that had its origins in the early 18th century, or possibly earlier. The former club has been referred to by names such as the Noblemen's and Gentlemen's Club or the Cricket Club, and it was based for a long time at the Star and Garter on Pall Mall. It was essentially a social and gambling club but had a number of sporting connections, including the original London Cricket Club, the Jockey Club, Hambledon Club, the White Conduit Club, and various prize-fighting promotions. When the members formed the White Conduit Club for cricket in the early 1780s, they played at White Conduit Fields in Islington, but they soon became dissatisfied with the surroundings and complained that the site was too public. The members asked Thomas Lord, a professional bowler at the White Conduit, to secure a more private venue within easy distance of London. They guaranteed him against any financial losses. When Lord opened his new ground, the Gentlemen's Club moved there and initially renamed themselves as the Marylebone Club. For the beginning of the 20th century, MCC organised the England cricket team, and outside of Test matches, the touring England team officially played as MCC up to and including the 1976-77 tour of Australia. The England touring team wore the distinctive red and yellow stripes of the Marylebone Cricket Club as the colours for the last time on the tour to New Zealand in 1996-97. The true provenance of MCC's colours is unknown, but its players often turned out sporting sky blue until well into the 19th century. The club eventually settled on the now well-recognized colors of scarlet and gold. One theory is that MCC adopted these colors from J. and Amp W. Nicholson and Amp C. Osgin after the company's chairman, MCC benefactor William Nicholson, secured the club's position at Lord's with a loan. Another theory, which chimes with the club's origins, is that MCC borrowed its colors from the livery colors of a founding patron, Charles Lennox, 4th Duke of Richmond, of Goodwood fame. Laws of cricket. Although MCC remains the framer and copyright holder of the laws of cricket, this role has increasingly come under pressure as the ICC seeks to exercise control over all aspects of the world game. In recent times, the ICC has begun instituting changes to match regulations without much consultation with MCC. Also, in moving its location from Lords to Dubai, the ICC gave a signal of breaking with the past and from MCC, although the lower taxation in Dubai was the official reason given. Changes to the laws of cricket are still made by the MCC. Any changes to these laws require a resolution of the MCC committee and must be notified to those members entitled to vote no later than the next annual general meeting following the change. Coaching. MCC has long had a deep involvement in coaching the game of cricket. As of 2013, the club's head coach Mark Aline heads an extensive operation involving the running of an indoor cricket school and a team of coaches in England and around the world. MCC produces a coaching manual, the MCC Cricket Coaching Book. Membership. MCC has 18,000 full members and 6,000 associate members. Members have special rights to use the pavilion and other stands at Lords for all matches played at the ground. In order to join the waiting list of candidates for membership, one must obtain the vote of 3 members, and the additional sponsorship of a person on the list of MCC sponsors. As the demand for membership always outstrips supply each year, there continues to be a substantial waiting list for full ordinary membership, currently around 27 years. This waiting list has increased in recent years, and is beginning to reflect the 30-year wait which was the norm in the 1920s. There are, however, ways to lessen the time it takes to become a full member. One may qualify as a playing member, or out-match member. Alternatively, some are awarded honorary life membership. Current honorary life members include Wasim Akram, Mike Atherton, Dickie Bird, Sir Ian Botham, Keith Bradshaw, Aravinda De Silva, Andy Flower, Kumar Sangakkara, Sunil Gavaskar, Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar, Adam Gilchrist, David Gower, Sir Richard Hadley, Inzamam ul Haq, Rachel Lady Hayho Flint, Nasser Hussain, Glenn McGrath, Sir John Major, Henry Olonga, Barry Richards, Sir Vivian Richards, Sir Garfield Sobers, Hashan Tilakartna, Michael Vaughan, Shane Warne, Oaka Yunus and Mahalajar Yawadeen. 4 members of the British royal family are also honorary life members, including the Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince of Wales, and the Duke and Duchesses of Cambridge. The former British Prime Minister David Cameron is a member. His name was initially put down in 1987, and he passed over for membership as he had lost contact with the club when they offered him associate membership. When Mr. Cameron recontacted them in 2010, his name would have been on the waiting for long enough to have been offered full membership, which was subsequently offered to him. This is contrary to the normal procedure. For all other candidates, membership is offered when the candidate comes to the top of the waiting list. The candidate then has 1 month to accept and pay the joining fee and the first annual subscription. Should the candidate fail to do so, the election of the potential member is void and the candidate has to reapply and join the end of the waiting list. Controversies. The club's members persistently refused to allow female membership well into the 1990s, with club ballots on the change unable to attract the 2/3 majority amongst the membership required for implementation. A 70% majority of members eventually voted to allow female membership in September 1998, so ending 212 years of male exclusivity. Up until this time, the Queen, as the club's patron, Ann was the only woman permitted to enter the pavilion during play. Later 5 women were invited to join as playing members. Further controversy occurred in 2005 when the club was criticised for siding with the England and Wales Cricket Board over the latter's decision to award television rights for Test cricket to British Sky Broadcasting, thus removing Test cricket from terrestrial television. The Secretary and Chief Executive of MCC at the time, Roger Knight, represented the club on the board of the ECB and was party to this controversial and much criticised decision. Test cricket had been shown free to viewers on British television for more than half a century. Another controversy was MCC's decision to allow members and other spectators to continue to bring limited amounts of alcoholic drinks into the ground at all matches. This decision challenged the ICC, which was attempting to implement a ban on this practice at all international matches around the world. MCC has opted to write to the ICC on an annual basis to seek permission for members and spectators to import alcohol into Lord's Cricket Ground. No other ground authority has thought it necessary to seek permission from the ICC for the members and spectators to import alcohol into their cricket ground, there being money to be made out of selling alcohol themselves. Given its heritage, MCC continues to participate in the administration of English cricket, and in 2010 offered Lord's as a neutral venue for Pakistan to stage a home Test match, as scheduled by the ICC, versus Australia. The club's initial offering was made with the intention that Pakistan, whose terrorist-stricken country had rendered it a no-go area for international cricket, could remain within the international cricketing fold. The Secretary and Chief Executive of the club has a place on the administrative board of the England and Wales Cricket Board, and it is reported that Keith Bradshaw may have been influential in the removal from office of England coach Duncan Fletcher in April 2007. In 2012, MCC made headlines over a controversial redevelopment plan vision for Lord's that would have increased capacity but included construction of residential flats on some of the MCC site. Internal strife over the process of making a decision on the proposal led to the resignation of former Prime Minister Sir John Major from the main committee. MCC today. MCC teams continue to play regularly, occasionally still at first-class level. The club has traditionally produced its MCC coaching manual, a Bible for cricket skills, and runs training programs for young cricketers, including at its indoor centre at Lord's. MCC also continues to tour around England, playing matches against various state and private schools. This tradition has been followed since the 19th century. The club also has a real tennis and a squash court, and active golf, chess, bridge and backgammon societies. Often viewed as overly staid and pontifical, the club has of late improved its image in the eyes of the public and media, partly because it remains a citadel for tradition in a fast-changing landscape and partly because it has made a concerted move towards image improvement. It would be overstating things to claim that the MCC has come full circle, admitted Andrew Miller at the beginning of October 2008. But at a time of massive upheaval in the world game, the colours of NW8 have ceased to represent everything that is wrong with cricket, and instead have become a touchstone for those whose greatest fear is the erosion of the game's traditional values. In April 2008 in Mumbai, the Indian Premier League, viewed by some as the very antithesis of MCC, pledged its allegiance to the club's Spirit of Cricket campaign. Since then, the MCC has embraced and indeed promoted T20 at Lord's. Up until 2013, the MCC was a private members' club. This status had several limitations. Since an unincorporated association is not a legal entity, it could not own property in its own name. It could not sue anybody, or indeed be sued. In the event that a claim was successful, the committee and even the members themselves would have had to fund any financial shortfall. The club therefore called a special general meeting in June 2012 to consider petitioning the Queen in Council to incorporate the club by royal charter. The charter would remove many of the barriers and simplify the administration of the club, resulting from the petition. In December 2012, the club was granted a royal charter, 2 previous attempts having been unsuccessful. As a result, the club became an incorporated association and is now able to hold assets, including the Lord's ground, in its own name instead of via a custodian trustee. It also meant that the individual members, as the club's owners, ceased to have a potential liability should the club ever get into serious financial trouble. MCC universities. Since 2005, the MCC has funded 6 university cricket academies known as the MCC universities. They are based at Cambridge, Cardiff, Durham, Leeds, Bradford, Loughborough and Oxford, and incorporate a total of 13 educational establishments. As of 2012, all 6 MCCUs have been granted first-class status by the ECB. Each MCCU plays a trio of matches against professional county sides at the beginning of each season, with first-class status conferred on the first 2 of these matches. Officers of the club. Presidents serve a 12-month term and cannot serve 2 terms in succession. Each president is required to nominate his successor at the AGM, which takes place during his term of office. The club chairman and the treasurer serve a 3-year term. Both are appointed by the committee. Both can serve terms in succession. The secretary and chief executive is the senior employee of the club and is appointed solely by the MCC committee. The committee consists of the above officers plus the chairman of any other committees that may exist at the time of any meeting plus 12 elected members. Elected committee members are appointed for a 3-year term. An elected committee member cannot be re-elected upon retirement unless there is a gap of at least 1 year between terms of office. HRH the Duke of Edinburgh has served twice as president. The current officials are President Roger Knight, Club Chairman Gerald Corbett, Treasurer Robert Lee, Secretary and AMP Chief Executive Derek Brook.